Good evening and welcome to the NUFC 360 preview show, the last preview show of this half of the season, in fact. And today we have Max and Michael alongside myself. Hello, guys.
All right,
Hello.
there is.
All right, let's get going then. Let's preview
Yeah.
tomorrow evening's game. It's going to be a good one. The feel-good factor continues at Newcastle this week, despite a turgid game midweek against Crystal Palace. We won't skirt too much over it, but Max, you were actually at the game. You were over from Sweden. You're in Newcastle at the moment. What was your first Newcastle game like, if you could summarize it in a few words?
Shit. But thank God for
Okay.
Nick Pope. Thank God for Nick Pope.
Indeed. Yeah, I think it was important we won that because there were quite a number of big teams that went out, and also it kept the feel-good momentum going. You know, it could have
Yeah.
potentially.
That was the best thing
derailed.
about it. All the big teams going out. When we got to the pub, we were all like, "Shit! Look at all that lot have gone as well. Wow, this is good." So you're spot on there, Ez. Yeah.
Indeed, and the good feel continues this week. We had a number of awards won today. In fact, Miggy won the best goal and player of the month. Well deserved for you, Michael. Well deserved for Almiron, or was there someone else?
No one. I mean, as it's recalled now, it's called the Jack Grealish Player of the Month. And no, I mean, it would have been I think you'd have to be very, very bitter to not say Miggy deserved both of them. So, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, and Max, they addressed that. I was quite surprised actually on Sky Sports with the Jack Grealish comments with Almiron. How sincere do you think that was when he basically just said, "No, it didn't affect me at all. It has nothing to do with my form." Do you believe him?
I do actually, because I feel like he's that kind of person who just takes it in his stride and like just keeps on working. Like I said, work hard. So, and that he did, and now he's getting the result from it. So maybe Jack really should try the same, and he will also have a better season.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. Talking of working hard, Eddie Howe also won the Manager of the Month. I mean, I'm probably asking the wrong two people here, but deserved again, Max, would you say, for Eddie Howe?
Yeah, I don't think there was much competition. Of course, Arteta, I think, had quite similar results, but I mean, the teams we played against and how we won those games was also very good. So I'd say no competition for that prize, and he rightfully got it.
And if we were to do like a manager of the season for the first half of the season, would it be Eddie Howe, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I know that would be biased, but you'd have to be pretty bitter not to. I mean, like Max just said, we've been emphatic where we've won. We haven't just sort of won and sneaked it and lots of 1-0s. We've been emphatic everywhere we go. So yeah, I mean, you'd have to be, but we are biased. But yeah, he gets it hands down, doesn't he? Really.
Yeah, I mean, as an argument, you could probably say Arteta may have as well, but yeah, it's out of those two for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, continuing on the feel-good factor, we've got some international recognition as well, and for the first time since I think '98, we've had three Newcastle players get called up for England to a World Cup. We've also got Cher going to the World Cup with Switzerland, and we've got Bruno with Brazil. Well deserved, I would say. Anyone there that you think should have got a call? I know Botman and Byrne didn't get calls. Max, is there an argument to say that they both should also be looking forward to going to a World Cup?
I'd say Dan Byrne should be really feel hard done by, because I don't, from a like objective standpoint, I don't think your center backs in England are particularly good. Many of them, there are some who are good, but I think some of them out of form, hasn't played. Dan Byrne has been in the best defense in the league this half season, and he's done nothing wrong. So I don't see why he wouldn't get on the plane, because he's also a very good leader. Sven Botman, I can understand why to a degree. I mean, he's very young still. He's like 21, and they have really good center backs in the Netherlands. So I can see his time is coming. He's, like I said, only 21, so he'll have time for another World Cup. Whilst Dan Byrne, I feel really got hard done by.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, good points. Michael, do you think that feeling of being hard done by, that disappointment, will potentially impact the players, those two players specifically, on Saturday if they do play?
No, I don't think Dan was expecting to go anyway. So no, I don't think so. They're too good to be like, they're too professional to do that, and and they know it's all down to their club form anyway. So, and they just want to keep that going. But going on from that, the other thing is also Joe Linton not going instead of Fred.
Yeah.
Again, as we've been saying, now we are biased about everything. Of course we are. But if Dan Burn played for one of the big six, and Joe Linton played for one of the big six, then if I was Fred, I'd be looking over my shoulder. But of course, they don't play for one of the big six, so they're just not sexy enough names that they're attached to. Is my humble opinion. And back page picking exists not only in England but obviously in Brazil, and to a certain extent in Holland. I know what Max is saying about Botman, but surely he's one for the future. So take him anywhere, just to give him a bit of a taste of the World Cup. So, but they'll going back to your question, no, they'll be fine. They'll just do their job and just keep doing that. I mean, they're having such a good season. Then that would have just been icing on top of the cake, which is obviously what Callum Trips and Nick Pope have got. So good luck to all. I'm very proud of them, aren't we? So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that the thing about those three players we just mentioned there, Joe Linton, Dan Burn, and Sven Botman, they don't have a single cap between them, so they've not been tried and tested. And maybe the managers, respectively, just didn't want to risk a player with no international experience.
Yeah.
But for the players that did get picked, this has been thrown at Eddie Howe a couple of times now. I don't think he knows how to answer it, but I'm going to ask you guys, see if you guys have a better answer. Those international players, such as the three England guys, do you think they'll hold back on Saturday if they're picked? Do you think there'll be something in the back of their minds that will just naturally creep in? I'll throw this to you, Michael. Do you think they'll hold back, and do you think that will affect potentially the result of the performance?
Well, you wouldn't blame them for doing that, would you? I mean, no, I don't think they will, and we're not sure. I mean, obviously we'll cover it. I don't think Callum's going to play it anyway. So, and maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe we're just ruling him out, which would be a shame for us. Nick Pope, probably not. I can't see him getting replaced. And Trips, he's too professional. Because I mean, the thing is, all week we've been hearing about how bad timing it is for all players, but someone pointed out on the radio on TalkSport saying, well, you could get onto your first training session and just something could go. Simple as that. It doesn't matter if you're playing in a match or just training. It can happen. But we wouldn't blame them for doing that, would we? It's not their fault that it's in the middle of a season. So, but I think especially Trippier, he came on and gave his all on Wednesday night. He wasn't holding back, and I wouldn't expect anything less from someone who has just been a sensation since he signed in January, hasn't he? He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Okay, all good points. Max, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, all of them are top professionals, so I think their prime thought would be, I need to do my best for this last game of this first half of the season, and then maybe something subconsciously they tell them not to go 100%. You can't control that. That's just your brain, how it works sometimes. But like Michael said, I think they will go 100% like always.
Yeah, cool. Hopefully. Let's hope.
Hopefully,
really nice to finish on a high. We've had such a good year. It would be really good to finish on a high, and we have got quite a good record against Chelsea at home. It was not bad anyway, but they've been in patchy form as of late. They've got quite a good Champions League record, but in the league they've lost their last couple. In fact, they've lost their last three, and they with I think the worst one being the 4-1 defeat to Brighton away from home, which was quite a surprise. So, Max, are there any players with this Chelsea 11, bearing in mind the ones that are out, that you think we should be wary of for Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, they're a team full of quality still, even though if they haven't played so well. So there's still some individual players that you need to look out for that can create some damage. I know Kai Havertz hurt us last season, both in heart and in result, and there's still some good players. I'm not exactly sure which players that are injured, but I still feel like Mason Mount, if on his day, could do some damage, and Raheem Sterling also. They're very confident players, those guys, and I don't know. You'd think that after these bad results, maybe they're down bad now, that they won't perform as well, but it could also be like, we want to take revenge now. We're gonna finish this really good now, and then we go into the World Cup feeling good. But you never know, because St. James's is a place where confidence gets stripped away from you pretty quickly if the crowd is on you.
Yeah, and let's hope for your sake as well as
I'll do my part.
There is a good atmosphere out there, indeed. And they've still got Kante missing, who I think is a big player for them, but they've got Jorginho coming back. Michael, do you see any? Because I mean, I think we go in as favourites even from the bookies. Where do you see them causing us problems?
Well, I mean, like Max just alluded to, they've got quality all over. But the one thing I've taken away from the last couple of weeks is that I'm not sure Potter knows what his best side is. He seems to chop and change it quite a lot. So I think we could sit here just for another half an hour saying, well, he might play so-and-so and he might play him. But I mean, missing Chilwell and James, aren't they? So defensively, that Cucurella, he's kind of a bit hot and cold. Where they can hurt you, obviously, is in the middle. Got Mount, who hasn't had a great season, but he's still class on his day. Aubameyang, again, if he turns it on, he's class on his day. Pulisic, he can be deadly when he wants to be. I mean, they have got so many good players; it's obscene, really. But they can hurt you all over. But we stand a really good chance tomorrow. It's just a shame Wilson might be out, so because that's going to be a bit of a blow for us.
Yeah, we'll get onto the starting 11. We'll get onto the starting 11 then, and it's interesting you mentioned about the fullbacks actually, because that was my first thought was, okay, who are we going to play out wide to try and hopefully exploit the fact that their two starting fullbacks won't be playing. So let's start with the attacking three then. Michael has already alluded to the fact that Wilson might not be playing. It was announced in the it was mentioned in Eddie Howe's press conference today that potentially still unwell and is training separately. Do you see that as mind games, or do you genuinely think Wilson doesn't have much chance of starting this game tomorrow?
It's really hard to tell. I mean, he's used these kind of things before when he said a player is fit and then they aren't, and he said they're not fit and then they are, and you're like, okay, I don't know what to believe. And so I hope it's a mind game and he is fit, because I don't want to see Chris Wood play tomorrow. I really don't. That was painful to watch on Wednesday, and I'd rather see Wilson. But if he doesn't play, I hope we play like a false nine with some Maximin or Joe Linton instead, because I honestly don't want to see Chris Wood start for us.
Wow. Okay, so you'd rather have a false nine over a conventional striker. That's really interesting. Yeah. Okay. Michael, what do you read in? Are we reading too much into this Wilson stuff? Because when he was posing for an England photo that was just posted about an hour ago, and seemed, I mean, obviously he looked okay, but he looked all right in the Southampton game and then went off at half time. So are we reading too much into this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, like I think we said in our little WhatsApp group, didn't we? When we saw a picture of him, I was like, well, he looks all right. Just from a photo of him smiling, then, but I didn't see him hobble off, with his crutches or whatever. He could have, but the only thing that would make me think it's not mind games is that he didn't finish that Southampton game. So it's a big blow, because like I said, I would be I was really excited for this game to come around after witnessing last year's debacle against them. I know the takeover happened, but Graham Jones was still in charge, wasn't he? And we didn't lay a glove on him. It was really bad, but we can still do them a lot of damage. So, like Max says, even without Wilson and without playing Wood, really, who was very ineffective, and that's been polite on Wednesday. We still can do them. We've got goals all over that team, apart from our defence, all over the midfield, we should say, really. So, so we can, especially if Cucurella playing it, we can really do them with James and Chilwell missing. We could, and considering how good form Joe Linton and Miggy have been, we can do them damage from there.
Okay, so by that then you're saying that we should start Miggy and Joe on the right and left respectively. That's what you would do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Max, you're nodding to that, but would that change if let's assume Wilson is out and it's Wood there? Would you still play Joe Linton and Almiron as the two attacking wide players? Do they complement Chris Wood?
Do you mean that we need to start Chris Wood, or can I take him out?
No, well, let's assume...
take him out.
Let's assume that Eddie Howe, if Wilson is missing, his plan B will be to start Chris Wood. I think history tells us
All
that
right.
that's the most likely thing to happen. If it
Yeah.
does happen, would you start with Almiron and Joe Linton to supply Chris Wood?
I'll start with Almiron because he can score goals. We know that. Apparently, he's crazy at doing that. But I'll say maybe. Oh, it's hard. Joe Linton, I would play him. I'd rather have him in midfield for a game like that with Willock and Bruno. And then I play Murphy, I think, which sounds attacking free of Murphy and Wood and Almiron. Yeah. But I'm not sure. I think Murphy can cross the ball. I hope quite good, and he's quick and can cause problems especially because Azpilicueta and Thiago Silva, who I expect are going to play, are quite slow. So to have some sort of pace in attack will be good, and you get that with Almiron and Murphy. With Wood, you don't, because you don't get anything with Wood except good penalties. So I'd say Murphy, but hey, really hope Wilson starts.
Interesting that neither of you have mentioned ASM here. I know he didn't have a great game the other day, but given that he's just got some minutes under his belt, would either of you start with ASM, or you'd go with the safe option, go with Murphy?
Yeah, I would start with him as a false nine, but I'm not sure if that's an option. Because that worked against Norwich last season when we played. When Joe Linton started as a false nine and then moved it out left, and Maxi played as a false nine, and it kind of worked. But that was against Norwich, so.
Yeah, interesting though. That you're right. That tactic has been deployed before, so that's good point. Michael, is it the ASM for you, or you'd bring him off the bench?
I'll bring him off the bench. I don't think he's played enough, really. I think his injury was worse than the club made out. Again, Eddie Howe start him off the bench, so he didn't really look very effective against a rather pedestrian Palace side. He tries his hardest, as he always does, but again, why would you change a team that is doing so well? Apart from Wilson, that would be the only change I would make, and I'm afraid as soon as we haven't got Isaac, the forgotten man, I'm afraid it probably will be just Wood playing in his place. If and pretty much the team we've been used to, either Joe Linton or Willock or Murphy, depending on where he wants to put Joe Linton, really. So we can hurt them tomorrow. Definitely going to hurt them tomorrow. God, I hope so.
Okay, excellent. And I assume then that we get, in terms of starting 11, the back five of the back five. I'm not sure there's much more conversation to be had unless you guys think we should freshen it up.
No, not unless there's an injury.
Max,
no, I mean, I think trips will start, even though England is calling. So, someone's saying they don't think Maxi looks fit. No, that's what I just said. I think he's still recovering slowly. So, but no, again, don't change that back five. Best defense in the Premier League. End of conversation with any other Chelsea supporters.
And what about Sean Longstaff? Because he played pretty much the majority of that game, didn't he? At midweek. Would you start him again? Because he is now seen as our workhorse in the midfield. Would he start with you guys along? Would it be the same midfield three? So I'll go with you first, Michael.
Yeah, it would depend. I mean, like I said, depends where he wants to put Joe Linton, really. If we put Joe Linton on the right, he's been playing on the right, hasn't he? On the right, then you would start probably Longstaff and Bruno together. I mean, Sean Longstaff, he works his guts out. I mean, I know he's very much a Marmite player, isn't he? So I know some people just can't be doing with him in the team at all, and some people think that he's so underrated it's criminal. So, but yeah, I would start with him. So, and Bruno. So, and I don't think Shelby will start neither. He didn't look match fit either. So, I don't think we'll see him till after the World Cup now. So,
yeah, most likely not. Max, how about you? What's your starting midfield?
Yeah, this one is tough because I mean, obviously Bruno got to be in it, and then there's those two number 8 roles that you need to fill in. And for me, I feel like Willock, he gives us something different. His forward runs is really critical, and he does really well. I'd say, I mean, I would like to see Joe Linton in the team, either on the left wing or in midfield. But if it's between just him and Longstaff in midfield, I'd say Joe Linton, because I think he also brings something more special. He can create stuff And I don't want to take anything away from Longstaff because he can also create stuff with the neat passes, and he does make some good runs into the box. But I don't know. It's hard to say. But I would say Joe Linton, Willock, and Bruno.
Nice. And we have on topic. We've got Layla Richardson saying she feels Bruno will play 200% to make up for his pen. Yeah, I've heard that opinion quite a number of times. He looked pretty cheesed off, didn't he? Especially in that picture that was posted, which I think is a good thing. It had kind of like Cristiano Ronaldo vibes to it a little bit, like that sense of self-belief and arrogance that he shouldn't be doing stuff like that. And it's really, really positive sign. Hopefully, it does have that impact. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, he was. I mean, yeah, he was. Yeah, I know the Ronaldo thing you mean, but he was disappointed with himself, wasn't he? He was disappointed for a reason. Unlike Ronaldo, who's just disappointed because it's Tuesday. I mean, he was disappointed because he was disappointed in his own performance, and I think he expected. And the feeling in the atmosphere, Max will tell you, when he stepped off that penalty, the amazement when he missed it was everyone was like, has that just happened? It was like, has he really just, so yeah, I mean, he will, that's a very good comment. He will definitely be up for this one, World Cup or not. He knows where his bread's buttered. And that's Tyneside.
Nice. Okay, just before we ask for predictions, are there any Chelsea games that we've played historically that stick out to either one of you? Any games that kind of live in the memory? Either home or away.
For me, it would be. Sorry, go on, Max.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I'd say it's under Steve Bruce, so it's not that great. But it's the one that springs to mind directly, and it was the Isaac Hayden last-minute winner. Because who doesn't love a last-minute winner? So, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that one sticks out in my mind as well, but I think for all the wrong reasons. Because I know it's really hard, and I thought, why we were so bad in that game, and it was so undeserved. Like, is this what it should be? Like, is this the way it should be? Whereas now we're blowing teams away, so it sticks out in my mind actually for the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
but,
I know. It's just during my time as a supporter, that's like the only win we've gotten against Chelsea. I think we maybe got one under Benitez as well. I can't remember, like one of the first season we were up after the championship, but that's the most recent one I can remember. So I'd say that one. But I know what you mean. As it's not like the nicest memory to have.
No, indeed, and you are right. Actually, we won there under Benitez. When 3-0, Gale and Perez scored 2. I barely remember that.
Wow. Yeah, it was a long time ago now.
Yeah. Michael, any stick out for you?
Yeah, I'll have a yin and yang. One was Mourinho's second spell in charge at Chelsea, and I want to say it was an FA Cup game, but I don't think it was. And we beat them, when everyone was like, we're not going to win this. So I can't remember the score. I think it was 2-0. It was. I just remember all the crowd singing "Sit Down, Mourinho" to him. So, and he was very gracious that day. We won a lot of fans, I think, in the Geordies that day, because he was really magnanimous about it and waved to everybody, And the other one will be the 3-0 last year, which was after the takeover and the disappointment and we didn't lay a glove on them. That'll always stick in my memory for lots of reasons. We were really bad. And since, and so, yeah, the yin and yang, those two really for me.
Yeah,
that game, Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, that was a really bad one. I think we should have had a penalty there. It should have been a red card. But yeah, indeed. Cool, excellent. That was a nice little trip down memory lane. So let's go down for predictions. Max, I know you want it to be a win because you're going to be there. What's your gut say?
Yeah, on the podcast I always say 1-1 draw because it seems to have been working these past few weeks. So I'd say 1-1 draw, but I'm hoping for something else.
Fingers crossed. Michael?
I'm going to go 3-1 to us. So I'm going to give it, I'd like to say 4-1 for Max's sake. And if Wilson was definitely playing, I would have said 4-1 again because I could just see us doing really well. But if he's not playing, it's going to be a lot tougher. But I'm still going to be optimistic and say 3-1. So, 3-1.
Cool. Well, I mean, it'd be a shame if we signed off like losing. We've got such a good home record this year. I can't see them beating us. I really can't. I'm going to go with Max. I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to say 1-1, and I don't think that'll be the worst result. To be fair, I mean, it just consolidates where we are.
Especially if Wilson's not playing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or even if, I mean, I personally think we'll probably get about half a game out of Wilson if we do see him. But hopefully, fingers crossed. Right, that's it. So that's the last preview now until probably the Bournemouth game. Maybe we might preview that after the World Cup in December. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.